A woman suffering from terminal brain cancer recently moved to Oregon to take advantage of Oregon's Death with Dignity Act. The law allows terminal patients to voluntarily end their lives by a self-administered lethal dose of physician-prescribed medication. She had to move to Oregon because most states don't allow assisted suicide or euthanasia, which brings up the question, where are terminally ill people legally allowed to take their own lives? First off, there are a couple of things we should define. Euthanasia is when a physician administers a terminal dose of medication with the exact purpose of ending a patient's life. Assisted suicide is when a physician prescribes a terminal dose of medication for the patient to administer to themselves. And passive euthanasia is when a physician withdraws treatment from a terminally ill patient, allowing them to die naturally. These terms are important to note because they affect how you are legally allowed to die around the world. Assisted suicide is officially legal in 3 U.S. states, and legal by precedent in 2 others. Oregon, Washington, and Vermont each passed Death with Dignity Acts that allow their physicians to prescribe lethal doses to terminally ill patients within some general guidelines. The patient has to give 2 verbal requests and 1 written request. They also have to be at least 18, a resident of that state, and have a terminal illness that 2 doctors agree will lead to death within 6 months. Montana and New Mexico have not passed legislation, but their courts have found that physician-assisted suicide is not against the law. Outside of the U.S., this varies. The Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg allow euthanasia. Physicians can administer a lethal dose to terminally ill patients. Switzerland allows legally assisted suicide. Physicians there can prescribe but not administer a lethal dose. Switzerland also has relatively relaxed restrictions and as such is a hotspot for suicide tourism. Up to 200 people per year visit Switzerland to be legally assisted with their suicide. Passive euthanasia is legal in Mexico, Ireland, and India. This means families can take a loved one off of life support or refuse further treatments. Many other countries are also faced with this issue. There are physicians in places we haven't listed here helping terminally ill patients end their lives, but the legality of their actions is unclear. With all of that said, it is worth mentioning that in the vast majority of countries, doctors will not participate in euthanization or assisted suicide. It is either illegal in their country or they consider it an opposition of their medical principles. If you'd like to know more about the right to die and why people are going to Switzerland specifically to kill themselves, please check out our episode of D-News on that subject. And if you are new to this show or to D-News, please subscribe.